Good morning, everyone. So we got back around, I'd say 9 p.m. from Portland. And of course, the first thing I did was run out and check my decks. I just did a quick check to make sure no pots had fallen over. There was nothing that needed immediate attention. But I haven't really given a close look to everything yet. So that's what we're going to do this morning. Now, I did leave right before a heat wave came. It was the first time that we were in the 90 degrees this year. We were gone for 6 days, and I think it was in the 90s most of those days, or the high 80s. We also had some thunderstorms, so there was some wind. So I'm just gonna see what the state of everything is. Now, before we go outside, let me talk a little bit about how I keep my garden alive while I'm away. So first off, I use irrigation. The entire front deck that we're gonna go on first, every single pot has irrigation in it, which is the first time I have ever done that, so I'm very excited. The back rooftop deck, I think about 3/4 of it has irrigation. And then there are some pots and smaller ones that I just don't have it set up to. So those I needed to be manually hand watered. And then the garage has no irrigation. Now there are some self-watering pots down there, but that's why I needed to have somebody come over with garden experience, because in the past, or let's say I didn't have the garage deck this year, I would just have our cat sitters come over. I would move all the pots that needed to be watered to one area and leave the hose out for them. However, because the garage needed to be all watered with a hose, I wanted to have someone come over that had the time to do all that and also experience to see if there was an issue with the plants. So here's what I found, because I get this question a lot. How do you find someone to water your plants while you're gone? If you don't have a friend or family that can do it, call your local garden center. So I called Gethsemane Garden Center. Actually, I think I messaged them on Instagram, and they have employees there that kind of do it on the side, watering people's either house plants or garden plants while they're gone. So if you're in Chicago, you can contact them through Instagram or contact your local garden center. They probably know an individual, or maybe the garden center itself does that. So definitely give them a call, see if they know anyone. But again, if you only have a few pots and you have a pet sitter, then you can do that as well. So now we are going to go out to the front deck, and I'm actually excited because usually I'm not filming this early, but my pigeon friends are usually here in the morning. They come throughout the day when they hear my voice, but the morning is when the majority of them come. However, there's also a hawk, actually 2 hawks now that live on the church that you can see from our deck, and they've been getting closer and closer to my deck when the pigeons are here because they eat pigeons. I haven't witnessed any pigeons being eaten. I don't know if I can handle that. So I'm kind of dealing with that now, where I'm excited to see the pigeons, but then always on the lookout for a hawk. So let's go outside. I'm going to bring a notebook and pen. I do this just to write down the tasks I need to do, because some things, if I can fix them immediately, I'll do right now. But if it's something that I need to remember to do later, like prune, I will add it to this list so I don't forget. So let's go and see how my garden's doing. All right, we are coming outside. I already see a pigeon up there. Good morning. And it is already hot and humid. So first off, things have definitely grown. I'm beginning to question if putting a pumpkin in my gomphrena bed was a good or bad idea. Poppies are looking good. I have a lot of zinnias that have already bloomed. So overall, it looks like at least this front deck, where everything has irrigation, is doing well. But we're going to take a close-up look in just a second. I did want to start over here because there are some exciting things happening. First off, I have dahlia flowers, and I don't think I've ever had dahlias bloom in June. Usually it's early July. But what's also weird is that this spring was so cold, but then it jumped to so hot that I'm actually surprised some things are early. But this is the Fimbriata, I think it's Pineland's Princess Dahlia. Look at her. Look how pretty. Oh, and I hear the pigeons coming. So I believe this is a cactus type dahlia. Can I help you? Good morning. Now I have to watch for the hawks as well. How we doing? Good morning. Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, I have 1, 2, 3. I'm actually going to harvest some flowers this morning because most of what I have out here is cut and come again. So I want to harvest the flowers and make myself some bouquets, make some bouquets for others. There's Stevie. Good morning, Stevie. One thing I did want to mention, because the person who came was also texting me any updates. So everything out here is set up on irrigation, which you might think, oh, okay, well then it's fine to leave. No one needs to watch it. But because we had thunderstorms and heavy winds, this dahlia pot was actually knocked over. So if I hadn't had somebody come out, it would have been lying on its side. The emitter had fallen out, so it wouldn't have been getting watered and would probably be dead by the time I got home. So that's why it's good even to have someone just look at your garden, even if you do have everything set up for irrigation. Well, I've noticed my first issue, and that's that there was a dahlia in here. I mean, there still is a dahlia in here, but it looks like this. I don't know what it was. I mean, it definitely didn't dry out. I'm wondering if it was staying too moist for it or if the stem broke. I don't know. I have to look into that a little bit more. But then also, this one over here, I'm also having issues with. So now this one looks like the stem was torn apart. I don't know if I see anything inside of it right now, like any pests or anything like that. I mean, the top is still alive. I don't think it's going to be alive for much longer, but I do have a shoot that does look good. So probably what I'll come out and do is just chop off the stalk that doesn't look great on this one. On this one, I might just cut the stalks back and then cross my fingers that something else pops up. I don't know if it will, but I am going to add that task to my list. Also, I see some weeds right here. You do not belong. I also am coming in close to check if that is budworm poop. I don't think it is, though. That is actually just dirt from the rain that splashed up on the leaves, because I haven't seen them yet, but I know the budworms are coming. This right here is one of the Zahara smaller zinnias. I forget the name of this. I will check that and link that below. But these are supposed to be powdery mildew resistant. I haven't seen any signs of powdery mildew yet, and I am trying to stay more on top of it this year. But this is about how tall it gets. So that's the Zahara zinnia right there. And then behind it are a mixture of the queen lime zinnias. So you can see the height difference between those and these, which I would say are like my medium height zinnias, get to about 3 feet tall. That would be the queen lime red. This is the queen lime with blush. Queen lime orange. And queen lemon peach. So they have all bloomed, and because the necks on these are stiff, these are some that I'm going to harvest. Are you guys being nice to each other? I feel like you're not being nice to each other. Around the corner here is my herb garden. So I had these 3 pots down at the bottom just to see if the mint came back. These were mints that I overwintered. Most of them came back. Some of them did not. I need to empty these out because I'm not growing it for whatever grass is growing in there. I also have some grass that has spread to other pots that actually have herbs in them. So I need to weed this pot, and it looks like this pot, but everything else in my herb section looks pretty good. You know what? I'm probably also going to add to fertilize the herbs because these pots are smaller. I fertilize these more often than I would fertilize like these larger raised beds. So I'll probably just do a liquid fertilizer, a little bit heavier in nitrogen for these herbs. Now, coming around to this bed. Well, first off, I have my columnar apple trees. They stayed upright. I have one there, and I think I have 1 apple on this tree. I have a bunch more downstairs. But this is my natives bed that I also threw some dill in. Now, when I left, it was completely covered in aphids, but I just started to see some lady beetles. And lady beetles, they eat the aphids, and then they will lay their eggs here, and the larva also eats the aphids. Well, first of all, it's actually blooming, which is incredible. I'm so happy to see this. This is exciting. I mean, I did nothing to these. Usually if I see aphids on my zinnias, I will spray them with a hose, knock them off, and just keep repeatedly doing that until they're gone. But I did nothing here. But look, okay. Gonna zoom in. There is one of the lady beetles. I think it's a lady beetle and not a ladybug. I don't know the exact difference, but I know that one has an M on its head. But I know that they also all eat aphids. So I will take whatever I can get. But isn't that cool how they just cleaned out almost every aphid without me having to do anything? I do have a volunteer sunflower in here that I have named Fred. There are also some other plants growing in here, but I think they're all going to get completely covered up by the milkweed. It does, here is my 1 apple, and it looks like There is a volunteer sunflower trying to grow here. Now, no offense, but there is not enough room for you here. So I'm going to take you out and put you in the composter. Now over to my gomphrena bed, where I planted the one pumpkin in the corner and thought this will be fine. I mean, it's doing great. It's huge. It looks healthy, but it's also taking over. Not necessarily most of the bed, but I think it looks like there is a pepper plant currently being covered right in there. So I need to shift my veggies around so they're all getting full sun. Now I usually do shift things throughout the season because when I first plant things and they're very small, I put the bags closer together. As they start to grow, I will move them further apart. So I definitely need to do that. Now, as far as the gomphrena bed itself, again, this is the first year I haven't had great luck with gomphrena. The ones that are blooming right now are the plants that I bought from the store. I do have an orange one opening up that I started from seed. I think I see some more orange ones, but I don't see any other colors yet. I see more weeds. So yes, sometimes I do actually have to weed in my container garden, but it's nothing like having to weed in a giant yard. All right, update. The sunflower that I pulled out from the apple does have a little lady beetle larva on it. So I'm actually just going to tuck this in here in the hopes that it finds its way over to the milkweed. Sorry about that, didn't mean to disturb you. So yeah, the veggie patch, I need to move that pepper. I'll add that to my list. Let's see how, oh, you know what? I had 3 cucumber plants and I don't know if I ever thinned them like I was planning to. Would I have 2 left now? Well, looks green and healthy. I also have, let's get in here, some zucchini from my zucchini round. So that is really exciting too. I'm happy to see the fruit on there. Now, as far as the poppies, I love them. I love having them in the garden. I think they're beautiful. I did put a tomato plant in the middle of this one and the middle of this one. I don't know if they're getting enough sun, so I will plan to remove the poppies fairly soon, just so my tomatoes get a chance to get all the sun they need. However, usually if it gets super hot, I'll sometimes get leaf curl, and I don't think I have any on the tomato plants yet. I'm wondering if the poppies also help provide some shade for them? I'm not sure, I don't know, but I will be pulling these poppies fairly soon. Coming through here again, the petunias are still, guys, I have another dahlia. Oh my gosh. Ooh, are you pink pearl? I think this was pink pearl. Look how pretty she is. So I have this one, and there are also 2 other dahlias in here that are all the same variety. And this one has a flower that's gonna open soon. You know, I should probably just come out here and flip over all the leaves and just look for pests in general in the garden, but oh, that makes me so happy. This bed here, I need to deadhead some cosmos for sure. Cosmos are also cut and come again, so I will be harvesting off of these to create bouquets. The flowers don't last as long as some of the other ones, but I still love them. I have the gomphrena that, again, I got, not that I started from seed. The straw flower I did start from seed, so those are just starting to open up. Ooh, and look at my little tiny tin tomatoes. There are 3 in here, 4 in here, 3 in here, and they are starting to get covered. Oh, I'm so excited for these. Coming along next, raspberries, looking good. I am starting to have some fruit form. I'll see if there's any to harvest today. With the 2 strawberry plants I have, I get enough to like eat for breakfast every day, but I wouldn't say I produce enough to make a jam or anything like that. But I usually just eat them right off the bush anyway. This bed is overcrowded, but we're gonna see what happens. I do have some of my sweet peas that are blooming. Now this was a mix, so I don't know the exact variety, but it did also say no staking needed because they were shorter. And I mean, they're growing down and around, but I think they're doing pretty well without any staking. And then the last bed here. So honestly, things are looking pretty good. But the last bed here has a bunch of zinnias. It also has watermelon plants, which only the center one has really started to take off. But honestly, I probably need to like move things around so that that watermelon doesn't grow into the raspberry. And then I'm pretty sure all of these dahlias are dahlias that overwintered in my raised beds, which again has never happened before, but it's nice to have 4 or 5 dahlias that I didn't have to buy this year. So that is really nice. I do see some weeds. I think weeding is probably going to be the most of what I do. Now, I don't do a ton because one, it's not like I have a lot of space. Now, I will still weed because some of these weeds can overcome the plants, but oftentimes when I sow this many plants in one bed, they just smother the weeds out. So we'll see, but I will come through and pull any of the weeds that I can see. So we'll head to the back deck now, but I am super excited with how things are looking. I'm going to give the back deck a look over, and then I will come out and harvest the flowers that I want. So I think the only things that I lost, this dahlia might be completely gone. This one at least still has one healthy stalk. So we'll see what the future holds for those. Now the back deck does get the full morning sun, so I apologize for the harsh lighting. Hello, you're following me over here. Most of my plants around the borders were set up on irrigation. Nothing on the ledge was set up on irrigation, and this bed here with my asters was not set up on irrigation because I tried to run the line, but going from the ground up into the bed, there just wasn't enough pressure. So I had the person water that. Also, anything in the center was not set up on irrigation, so they watered those as well. They came over before I left so that I could show them around, show them the hoses, what needed to be watered and what didn't. But he also was just checking, again, the things that had irrigation to make sure they looked okay. Now, I actually don't know if anything looks bad over here or dead, which I'm super excited because, again, up here, it's hotter than it would be on the ground level just because I'm on a rooftop. So whenever it's 90 degrees, it feels much hotter up here, but everything so far is looking really good. Ooh, ooh, dahlias, dahlias. I think these are the wine-eyed Jill dahlias, and I think that's the first cosmos opening up on that plant. There's a closer look at the wine-eyed Jill. I can probably harvest a few of those. These dahlias are just starting to open up. I think those are tubers I planted this year. All of these look good. Oh, the cosmos are opening here. So all three of my cosmos have flowered, which is great because they don't always do that every year. So I'm super excited. The person who was here did say that the petunias have definitely loved the heat, and I can tell. They look very, very happy. And I planted 2 per each box. You can still kind of tell that they were 2, but they are also starting to form one big blob together. And then the last is this bed with my China asters in it. So I have a bunch of China asters. I also do have some of the Thunbergia growing up it. This Thunbergia doesn't seem to like this very smooth material, so I have been using masking tape to guide it along, but hey, it seems to be working. So my goal was to just have it wind around these supports, which were the frame for the greenhouse. And I think that they look really pretty. There is a little bit of crisp edges, probably from the hot sun on that one. But I mean, everything else for being in such a hot environment in containers is looking really good. Back on the front deck, and I'm gonna go around and cut some of the flowers that are ready. I took my hat off because it was causing me to be way too hot. I'm already sweating and it's just now 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm standing in shade right now. So this has been a fun year weather-wise. Too cold to too hot, not a lot of time in between. But I'm gonna go around, probably cut some, well, for sure cut some zinnias, some dahlias, maybe some gomphrena and some of the cosmos. And then I'm just gonna throw them in a jar. I actually have 2 size jars. I have a taller one and a shorter one because usually my stem lengths are different. And if I try to shove too many tall ones in a short one, they fall over. And if I try to shove too many small ones in here, they kind of get lost in with the tall ones. So I always have 2 of different sizes. Starting with the zinnias, which I'm so excited about. So for these, you want to just wiggle the stems. If it still seems kind of floppy up here at the top, you don't want to cut them yet. Like, for example, if I do this one, that flower moves back and forth more than if I'm shaking this one. That means that these, where the stem is stiff all the way up to the flower, are ready to be harvested. I do take off the leaves from the flowers, and if they are not covered in powdery mildew, I will add them to my composter. So I'm going to start a pile of leaves as well. Again, no signs of powdery mildew yet. Usually, I would say I see the first sign sometime in July, which we are very close to. And usually, powdery mildew doesn't take out my zinnias. I feel like no matter what I try, it always just spreads and gets covered on all of my zinnias, but usually it doesn't take them out till September. But last year it was so bad that I had to pull them all in August. So that made me sad. However, it did give me more time to fill this bed with plants for the fall, but I would really prefer to just keep my zinnias as long as possible. While I'm out here with my pruners, I am just gonna come down. Oh no, it definitely rotted. Do you see how easily that pulled out? That makes me sad. So I do have an emitter in here. I might close, well, now they pulled the dahlia. I might close it for now and just water these by hand. But I'm hoping, since I don't think the tuber is going to come back and sprout any other sprouts, I will water this by hand just to make sure it doesn't get overwatered. I've definitely lost more plants to overwatering than underwatering. Here I'm going to deadhead the cosmos that are too far. And with these, I just do a chop and drop as long as there's no disease or pests on them. And these don't look like it, so just cutting these off. Again, these are also cut and come again. So you want to continue either deadheading or harvesting the flowers for bouquets so that they keep producing. I'm also going to harvest these dahlias for a bouquet. So just again, checking to see if I see any pests, which I think we're good. I think this one up top is too far gone to use in a bouquet. So I'm just going to compost this because you can see the leaves on the back are already starting to curl and die. You want to harvest it right before that starts to happen. But you, if I can get to you in here, look pretty good. Wow, where's your stem? Oh, you know what, actually, the back leaves are starting to die back a little bit, but not too bad. She still looks pretty. Here's everything I grabbed. So this is everything to go in the composter. This is the jar of the cut flowers with the taller stems. Again, everything that I've cut today is cut and come again. So cosmos, zinnias, dahlias. This is the cupcake blush that I started from seed. This is the wine-eyed Jill that I got the tuber from a grower named Sarah. I'll link her down below. And then the Queenie Lime series zinnias. This, the Fimbriata Pinelands Princess, another one-eyed Jill. And then this is a cosmos I got from Gethsemane Garden Center. I don't know the variety, but these stems I've noticed are shorter, and the plants overall are shorter compared to the one that I started from seed. So I'm gonna bring these in and make a bouquet for myself. This is the first cut flower harvest. So this is the smallest harvest that I will have. When I tell you that the amount of bouquets I can make from my garden, it's just incredible. I make some for myself. I give some away multiple times a week just on the sidewalk. And then our garden walk, which is coming up in July, I think I made 60 mini bouquets last year. I'm going to try to make that same amount this year. And then I give them away during the garden walk. So I'm really excited. Now we are just staying on the rooftop decks today, but we are going down to the garage soon. I have one more project to finish up, and then I'm going to do like a full grand reveal tour, because I know I've shown you parts that I've been putting together, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. And I don't think anything has died down there from when I was gone. One plant that I thought was dead started to come back to life, so that was good. But this is everything that I'm going to do for today. I have my list of tasks that I need to do, but I'm going to save those till the evening so that I don't get even more sweaty than I already am. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have dahlias open yet and you're in zone 6 or colder, because this is definitely the earliest, which I was not expecting based on our cooler spring. So yeah, let me know how things are going in your garden, and I will see you. I see a pigeon shadow. I will see you in the next video. Bye.